What if the Pope warned the world about a devastating event and we ignored it? What if heaven sent us clear signs through apparitions, visions, and even supernatural phenomena, and we just shrugged them off as superstition? The Vatican is not just the spiritual command center of over 1 billion Catholics. It's also the gatekeeper of some of the most haunting prophecies in Christian history. These messages are not from conspiracy theorists. They come from saints, mystics, and popes themselves, some approved, some hidden, and some disturbingly silenced. Today, we're diving deep into the top 5 Vatican prophecies we're ignoring today and what it might cost us. Number 5, the third secret of Fatima. Are we still being kept in the dark? The apparitions of the Virgin Mary at Fatima, Portugal, in 1917 are among the most well-known Marian events in church history. But perhaps nothing has stirred more curiosity and controversy than the mysterious third secret. The first 2 secrets involved a vision of hell and predictions about World War II and the rise of communism. But the third remained sealed in the Vatican for over 40 years. In 2000, the Vatican released a document describing a symbolic vision of a bishop dressed in white being killed among the ruins of a city full of corpses. They interpreted this as a reference to the failed assassination attempt on Pope John Paul II. However, not everyone was convinced. Prominent Catholic scholars and even former Vatican officials have argued that the published text doesn't match previous descriptions. Sister Lucia, the last surviving visionary, once described the third secret as involving apostasy in the church, starting from the top. Cardinal Mario Chiappi, theologian to 5 popes, famously said that the third secret warns, "The great apostasy in the church will begin at the top." Why would the Vatican withhold such a message? Could it be that the true secret points to a crisis of faith, doctrinal confusion, or even the rise of a counterfeit church? If so, we may already be living through it. Number 4, Pope Leo XIII's vision of Satan and the 100-year test. On October 13, 1884, Pope Leo XIII had a vision so terrifying it left him pale and shaken. After celebrating Mass, he collapsed and remained motionless for several minutes. Upon recovering, he confided that he had overheard a conversation between Satan and God. Satan boasted that he could destroy the church if given 100 years and more power. God granted the request. Deeply disturbed, the Pope composed the famous Prayer to Saint Michael the Archangel, which was then ordered to be recited at the end of every Mass. What followed was a century marked by 2 world wars, genocides, sexual revolutions, theological liberalism, and perhaps most shockingly, crises within the Church itself. By the late 1960s, the St. Michael prayer was removed from the Mass. Pope Paul VI, in a rare admission, declared that the smoke of Satan has entered the sanctuary of God. Many wonder, did the 100 years begin in 1917 when Our Lady of Fatima appeared and the Russian Revolution unfolded? Did it end in 2017, coinciding with a visible decline in traditional faith practices? And what happens now that Satan's 100-year leash has possibly expired? Have we entered a new phase, one even darker than the last? Number 3, the prophecy of the popes by Saint Malachy, the final pontiff. In the 12th century, Saint Malachy, an Irish archbishop, allegedly received a mystical vision while on pilgrimage to Rome. He saw a long line of future popes, each one represented by a short Latin phrase, many of which, astonishingly, have matched their reigns with prophetic precision. For example, Pope John Paul II was labeled De Labore Solis, or from the labor of the sun, being both born and buried during solar eclipses. Pope Benedict XVI was called Glory of the Olive, and he came from the Benedictine order, symbolized by the olive branch. The list ends with the 112th Pope, described as Petrus Romanus, Peter the Roman, who, according to the prophecy, will preside during a time of persecution, during which the city of 7 hills shall be destroyed, and the dreadful judge will judge his people. For years, many believed Pope Francis fit that description. He was the 112th in the line, born to Italian immigrants in Argentina, possibly linking him to Roman roots. His reign was marked by division, doctrinal confusion, and growing apocalyptic speculation. But then in 2024, everything shifted. Following Pope Francis's resignation, Cardinal Agostino Rossi was elected and took the name Pope Leo XIII, officially becoming the 113th pope, a number never mentioned in Malachi's prophecy. This unexpected development has thrown the Catholic world into speculation. Was the prophecy wrong? Or is Pope Leo XIII the beginning of something even more unsettling, a time beyond prophecy? Some theologians now suggest that Peter the Roman was not a literal name, but a symbol, perhaps a spirit of judgment or a phase of collapse. Others believe we are now in uncharted territory, a post-prophetic church age, where the final drama will unfold without divine previews. One thing is clear: the prophecy has either ended or it's only just beginning to fulfill itself in ways we never anticipated. Number 2, the Akita apparitions, when Mary warned of fire from the sky. In 1973, in the remote hills of Akita, Japan, Sister Agnes Sasagawa, a humble nun suffering from deafness, began experiencing strange phenomena. A wooden statue of the Virgin Mary in her convent began to weep real human tears, scientifically confirmed over 100 times. Sister Agnes received 3 messages from Mary, the last of which is deeply apocalyptic. Fire will fall from the sky and wipe out a great part of humanity, the Virgin warned. Priests will oppose priests, bishops will be against bishops, the church will be filled with those who accept compromises. The local bishop, John Shojiro Ito, initially skeptical, later approved the apparitions as supernatural in origin. Years later, Cardinal Ratzinger, then head of the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith and future Pope Benedict XVI, reportedly confirmed that the message of Akita is consistent with Fatima. This chilling prophecy reflects today's church: division at the highest levels, confusion about moral teachings, and a growing tolerance for what was once condemned. Is Akita not just a warning of physical destruction, but a description of a church already burning spiritually? Number 1, the red sky of 1938, a cosmic warning before the World War II. On the night of January 25th, 1938, the skies across Europe turned blood red in a spectacular auroral display. It terrified those who saw it. The phenomenon was later explained as a rare solar storm, but decades earlier, in the second secret of Fatima, the Virgin Mary had warned that a night illumined by an unknown light would precede the next great war if people did not stop offending God. Less than 2 months after the red sky appeared, Hitler invaded Austria, marking the beginning of World War II. Pope Pius XIV, then Cardinal Pacelli, witnessed the phenomenon and later described it as a sign from God. It wasn't just a scientific anomaly, it was a divine warning. In recent years, red skies and auroral events have been spotted in unusual latitudes, once again sparking speculation. Are we being warned again? But perhaps the next chastisement won't begin with fire or blood, but silence and indifference to God. Will we recognize the sign this time? These prophecies, ignored, dismissed, or diluted, are not fiction. They're divine messages echoing through the corridors of history. The Vatican, for all its faults and mysteries, has been entrusted with secrets that were never meant to be hidden forever. And yet we are more distracted than ever. The church is divided, the world is on edge, and the faithful are losing sight of eternity. Maybe it's not about waiting for another sign. Maybe the signs have already come and gone, and now we are living in the consequences. The question is no longer, is it true, but what will you do with what you know? Heaven has spoken. The clock is ticking, and ignoring these warnings may be the most dangerous prophecy of all.